Alrighty, welcome to Life in Excel number 3, lesson 3, the fancy digital calculator. With this, there'll be another exercise as well. This one's called exercise 2, let's try math. Pretty much Excel, I like to think of it as just like a large calculator. You've got like anything you can use, PEMDAS, order of operations will show how to do all that. The thing about Excel is, let me show you here. So instead of using like the plus and minuses and all that, let me copy this over. Hopefully it'll copy over. It did. Awesome. Okay, so instead of using like pluses and minuses and like your normal divides, we're still going to be using pluses and minuses, but now by multiplying you're going to be using an asterisk, and dividing you're going to be using a backslash. So stuff like that, just kind of showing you a little bit how Excel operates, but go ahead and remove that. And I'm going to add, let's see, what do I want to do? We'll do two different numbers, so 23 and 5. So these are going to be our two numbers. I'm going to set this up a little bit like how the exercise will be set up. So I'm going to go down another one, hit add, and each time I go down I'm just hitting the down arrow key. Subtract. I'll be mistyping a lot of things, so don't laugh if I do, because it's an issue sometimes. M-U-L-T, geez, there we are. Multiplying, there we are. We'll just make it multiply, that way it's more uniform. Multiply and divide. Alrighty. So we have all those and everything, and yeah. So I could do cell referencing. I'll show that to you in a few minutes, but pretty much what I mean by Excel as a giant calculator is you can use an equal sign for pretty much anything. So if we want to do this, we do equals 23 plus 5 equals 28. That's obvious. But to make it a little bit easier, we're going to use cell referencing, and I'm going to show you how to do that. It's not too hard, actually. So you hit equals, and then you're going to click the cell that you want. So A1, and then you're going to add the rest of your equation, plus 5 equals 28. And that makes it a lot easier, because say I were just to type the numbers in and not do the cell referencing, it would be 23 plus, oh, I did it there just by habit, 23 plus 5, so they both equal 28. But if I mistake a number, or maybe I need to change the number for some other reason, say I change it to like 35 or something, this changes while this doesn't. So cell referencing is super important for also whenever you get into some of the more crazy equations and stuff like that. It's definitely a lot easier to use cell referencing rather than to like type each number and everything. So there's that. Going to finish subtract, or each one of these that I have, using cell referencing. So subtract A1 minus A2, multiply, now take note of the sign here, equals A1, bam, asterisk 5, divide. I didn't think of this, so we're not going to get an even number, but oh well, backslash 5, bam, 4.6. That's not bad. So then these are all using the cell referencing, which makes it a lot easier. Let's change the numbers to 32 and 24 for this next part. So there we go, 1.33333333. That might get a little annoying, so a little trick here. If you go up to number, you can see these two little arrows here. We're going to click decrease decimal, bring it down to 2 decimal points. That way it cleans the number up a little bit, makes it a little nicer. So now we're going to get into some array formulas. An array formula is pretty much whenever I do that. That right there is an array formula. So I'll show you how to use that. We're going to use, let me see, add, subtract, apply, I think I spelled that right, and divide. And for adding, I'm actually going to show you some formulas now, some basic ones. So, cell referencing is good for one or two things, but whenever you get a lot and you have to go like that, and then that, and then that, and then that, and then that, that gets a little annoying. So we're just going to do equals sum, double click that, and then select, and see how there's that colon there. That indicates that it's a array formula in Excel. So you're just going to go ahead and close out the parentheses there. And then we have our addition right there. So that's equal to each one of these. Plus, 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 plus. We're going to go up here, do the trick again, down to 2 decimal points, subtract. Subtraction, unfortunately, does not have its own Excel formula, so we're just going to subtract maybe that from, say, B6 from 50, or from B4. There we go, we have that. Multiplying does have its own. If you do equals product, if I can spell right again, product, and then we're going to use that same formula. It's a nice big number there. Another tip, we're going to add commas. So there we go. We don't need the 0, so we'll go back and get those zeros. And you can drag the column right here, size it a little bit. We'll size it down a little right there, so it makes it easier to see. And then divide, you can actually use quotient. And we'll do equals QUOTIENT. And then 768 divided by 56. And oops, I did that wrong. So this actually wants the numerator and then the denominator. So that's our numerator right there. I did it wrong again. Separating the values with a comma. So numerator, if you use a comma in a formula, it tells Excel that you're separating the values. Our denominator is 56 right there. That equals 13. Alrighty. So now we're going to do a few more. We're going to do average, median, and mode. Alright, so now that we have our average, median, and mode, we're going to go ahead and calculate those. And average, it's a very difficult formula. It's actually just average. So that's not too bad. And then we're going to use the array formula. We're going to use these numbers now that we just calculated. So we kind of build on it. We have our decimal right there. It's pretty nice. And then we'll add our comma. Oops. Whenever you get these, another little helpful trick, a bunch of hashtags, you just go up here, double click. I call that the double click trick. It auto sizes the cell or row or column or whatever, and that way you can use that. And for median, you're just going to use equal median and select the same data. And then mode, we're going to use, so there's two different ones for mode. There's mode multi and mode single. For mode multi, that's going to be if you have, I guess you could use either for any set of data, but for mode multi, that'll be if you have multiple modes. For mode single, that's just going to be if you have a single mode. So we're just going to do this within the data. And I don't believe there is a mode in here, so it's just going to come up with not applicable. So we can just get rid of that one. Some other formulas we have here that I think are pretty cool are we have min, max, count if, and then if, and I'll show you how to set up each one of these. So minimum, same thing, we're going to use this data. That just pulls the minimum value from the data. Oops, I don't think I referenced that right. Need the actual equate or the formula itself. So min, and then reference, our minimum value is 13. Looks right. Maximum, going to reference again, pulls the maximum value from the data. I'm not putting these formulas in. Make sure you put the formulas in when you do it. There we go. So that's our maximum value. Looks right as well, just a slightly different format. Go ahead and fix those zeros, add the comma again, fix the zeros again, and there we go. And then count if. This one's a little bit more complicated, so I'll go ahead and show you this one. So count if counts the numbers of cells within a range that meet the given condition. So this is going to be our cells, and then you go up here, comma, separate the values, and our criteria is going to be if it is, whenever you put the criteria in, you'll need quotation marks. So it's going to be if it's, let's see, greater than 50. So I should end up with 3. I did less than 50, my bad. I was confused that. So if we do greater than 50, there we go, it's 3. So pretty much that's helpful for a lot of different things, but we have greater than 50 now. And then count if. This formula means that if any number in this range is over 50, it will count it, which is 3. And then if, it's another fun one. It just checks if a condition is met and will say if it's true or false. And you can customize this in a lot of different ways. So my test here is going to be if. And then I actually like to use this way to set it up. So we're going to go into formulas, insert if, click if, and then do that. So we're going to say if anywhere in that is equal to 4, then your value, if true, is going to be true, and your value, if false, is going to be false. And then it's giving me that error because I have 4 different values I was testing in only one cell, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and expand that. But that's just one of the other things. So pretty much like functions are the backbone of Excel, and now that you know how they work in a few basic ones, there's going to be a challenge. Like I said, it's exercise 2 called Let's Try Math. And once you complete those, you can be on your way to learning about how these work in a table. And then I'll show you how to use those slicers to kind of make the table a little bit more organized. So thanks for watching.